Hey everybody! My first time on a YouTube live stream, so I hope this is up and running for you guys. Hi, I'm Jill Buck. I am the celebrity artist with Joyco, and Salon Republic asked me here today to be with you guys to just kind of give you some techniques that I have adapted with all of the changes that have happened this year in 2020. So thank you guys for being here with me. Happy Monday. There is an awesome team of people behind this event today. So please, there's a Joyco squad, there's Salon Republic squad. I have an amazing assistant here with me, a couple of them today. So please, you guys, if you have questions, if there's something you can't see well, anything like that, please voice that in the chat box so we can make this experience the best for you guys. We're here for you. Today is a 2-hour live. That's a long time. So I am trying to jam-pack as much information into this live for you guys as I can. I'm going to be going over my Mohawk Balayage technique. This is something I kind of adapted when I found that I was having clients that have, at this point, almost a year's worth of grow out that I'm seeing, and how can I get them still done? Hopefully that didn't...
No, you're good.
Are we good? Everything's still good? Okay, sorry you guys, phone calls, all the things. So yes, the goal here is to make a big impact, okay, with still the same amount of time. So I'm kind of calling this like an express service on my menu. I also want to go over some business talk with you guys. You guys are all independent business people, as am I. I work in a salon, but I am Jill Buck Incorporated. So I am my own separate business, and I really want to help you guys kind of give you some things, some tips and tricks that have worked for me in that, and then specific to salon suites for you guys as well. And a couple other things I want to go over is using assistants, how kind of you guys can take your menu to the next level, and then also how do you stand out in a salon suite environment. All right, so hopefully you guys hang in there with me today. Please ask questions and we will get started. I'm working on a doll head today because I wanted to be able to talk with you guys without a mask. 2 hours of talking. I just really want to be able to get in there and do this with you guys. So I have her all sectioned out for my Mohawk Balayage technique. Hopefully you guys can see here we have our hairline sectioned out, and the way that I do my hairline is from the round of her head. Okay, this is going to be my money piece, and I have a couple different ways of doing money pieces, so I want to share with you guys a new one that I've kind of developed for brunettes specifically, because I thought that'd be fun in this class. So we're going to address that here, so the round of the head, okay, and so it's pretty thin. I will say this doll head has a large head, so we're going to cover a lot on a large head. Our sides here, okay, this is kind of from right in here. When your client has sort of that weak, like for lack of better words, cul-de-sac kind of a shape on their hairline, a doll head doesn't really have it, but that's what you want to go behind that on the sides and then down in front of the ear, okay? Now this top section, let me show you guys from the front. We're going to cover some serious ground here, and a traditional Mohawk is going to be like maybe temple to temple here, but we're dropping that down below the round of her head, and 2 reasons. One, as we foil, I'll show you, it creates an instant V pattern for me, and number 2, I'm covering major ground here, being able to get through this entire top section in more than just doing, you know, one here, and then I got my corners, and then I got my front, and then I have my side. So again, an express service here. Okay, we'll turn her to the back again. The last thing here is I kind of, just to give myself a little more control, okay? So again, I said this mannequin has a very large and wide head. So this is just kind of an added control piece in here. And the first couple times you try this technique, I recommend doing that as well. So kind of from the back, right in here we have our, this would technically be your side, right? From the ear forward, this would be your side piece. So this is going to be that piece that drops behind the ear, and we usually use that for depth. So you're giving yourself some depth in here, and then really just sectioning out kind of like the occipital bone, I would say, for just control. And then we have our bottom, and we're gonna leave this alone to start. All right, so hopefully you guys can kind of see, got a little mohawk happening here. That's sort of how, just to visualize that. If you guys have any other questions on that sectioning, please let me know and we will get started. All right, so I have mixed up the Blonde Life, the cream lightener. I'm really enjoying the cream lightener. I love how small this fits in my cabinet at the salon. So we have a main dispensary, but we have our own individual products. So just like you guys in a suite, I love how small and compact this is for my little cupboard that I keep all my goods in. And it's just super creamy, and I find that when I'm working with brunettes, I just feel like it helps like really give me a good overall saturation when trying to get through and you're breaking through a lot of pigment, a lot of color, right? All right, so I have that mixed up. I have mixed up 20 volume and 30 volume, okay? I always work, pretty much I always work with 2 levels, okay? And for a couple reasons. One, obviously, different strands have different porosity, okay? So that's gonna help me kind of control that I can take everything off at the same time. And then it also will help me on her hairline, just to keep that formula a tad bit gentler on her hairline, right? Healthy hair, you've heard this a million times. Healthy hair is the prettiest hair, right? So let's keep it healthy for our clients. Okay, I'm gonna kind of turn to the side here for you guys. We are leaving this section 1 alone. Before I sectioned her, I sprayed everything with Defy Damage, the Pro Series 1. This stuff is incredible, okay? I'm gonna take out this section just to kind of show you guys how I apply. This is a keratin-based product. It's a bond builder, okay? And it's just right in here that you're not mixing it into your lightener, you're not putting it into anything, so that way you don't have to change your developer, which for me is huge. I do not want to feel like my results are gonna be inconsistent, and I don't wanna have to question my timing when I am booking a service like this, right? Time is money. You're gonna shake the can really good, spray down in short bursts all the way down the hair shaft, okay? I even do this, I don't know if anyone saw my live yesterday, I prepped my haircut with this as well, and it just helped me like to glide right through her hair as I was cutting, and then it gave her an awesome treatment as well. Okay, so your comb should glide all the way through. If for any reason you find that you get to the end and it's getting a little bit stuck, give yourself another couple little bursts right there, and then come through. It should glide very easily for you. You will go through the entire head, spraying that before you have sectioned. I was just trying to save us a little time, doing it ahead of time. So I'm just gonna resection that one out of my way, okay? All right, so let's jump into this. I'm gonna take out my bottom section here and get started. The other thing, let me move some of this stuff off my tray. The other thing that I have prepped here is large foils. These are just the Reynolds foils, and this is them before they are cut, okay? If you choose, whatever kind of brand that you prefer, just really you wanna make sure that you're covering some serious ground with these foils. I'll turn a little bit here so you guys can see. I really wanna make sure that this is gonna kind of cover that section and the round of her head. And you see already how much ground we're gonna cover. All right, so let's get going on this. I will take my first, I'm actually going to switch sides, Serena, real quick, so you can kind of go over my shoulder here. Is that okay? Can everyone see that? Yes. Serena, that's good view. All right, so I'm taking my first section here, and I'm gonna go straight across. Even though this section is rounded here, that's what's gonna help me create that V, okay? I'm gonna go straight across in a horizontal and clip out of my way. Now, with this client specifically, you can kind of see on her ends, you know, she's got a year's worth of grow out happening here. So how am I gonna tackle major grounds all while getting this service done in the same amount of time, okay? So this is where this technique has really been game-changing for me. I'm gonna set my foil right in all the way up to the scalp, okay? And if you can see, because of the round, as we work up, you'll be able to see a little bit better. That's already creating a V for me, because this side is tighter and that's already dropped a little bit lower. So now as I feather, I know I can feather straight up on that horizontal line, but yet the result is a V, okay? I'm gonna come down. Again, I'm using my 30 volume, okay? And now, at this point, this is where we gotta be mindful with our clients, and where we see those lighter pieces, that's where I will switch to my 20 volume, okay? Gotta get that one mixed up real quick too. I'll switch to my 20 volume on those other strands just to be a little bit more gentle, all right? This is all about refreshing our clients and kind of using and working with what we have, okay? I have two different brush colors. I have purple and I have black. Okay, the purple, just so you know, is my 30. The black brush is my 20. And we will jump in with that 20 volume and paint through on those pieces, okay? Here's where the balayage comes in. I've just added a glove to my hands. I'm gonna pull right through those ends, okay? With that 20, and if you have a darker piece, go ahead and grab your 30 and add your 30 on those ends to really help those lighten and brighten. And then we're going to leave that alone. Make sure you keep a towel next to you. Okay, this is where you really need to work clean. I'm going to take another foil, we'll go right over the top. And I now have my highlight plus my balayage all in one step. And then we move to the next one. I'm going to go all the way across. I'm working in 1-inch sections as I move across her head. And this is specifically because I want that dimension running in between each section, okay? Now, if you need to take a subsection here for added control, please do. A doll head does not have the same density as humans, right? You can obviously see we're staring at her scalp here. So you don't have to on a doll head if you guys anyone grabbed one to do one with me. But on a real human, I would take a subsection here so that you know that this is not too dense of a section. If we get too dense here, then our lightener is not going to penetrate through, and that's how we get spots all the time, okay? My weave pattern is I'm going to take a large one, I'm going to take 3 smaller for dimension, and then I'm going to take another wide, okay? And then sometimes if you need to reach all the way that section, I take another small one. But the idea is that we're creating dimension even within the foil, okay? Give myself one fold. Take this all the way to that part and really keep tension here. That's what's going to help that foil hold its place and its shape, okay? So now can you guys see even a little bit better? We have higher and we're a little bit lower there, instantly creating that V. Now when I want to feather, make sure you hold real tight on those ends. And pull your 30 down through those darker spots, 20 here. Okay, now, I'm leaving these ends out of the foil for a few reasons. Number one, I'm leaving those out because they're already pre-lightened, right? If you had somebody that wasn't lightened yet, you could definitely wrap that into the foil. I just love the idea that we're going to be a little bit gentler, right, on that hair. It's even if it doesn't have lightened end, it still is not the same porosity, and it doesn't have the same strength, right, as a lot of You see it in a lot of clients, right? It's just wear and tear, even virgin hair, it just happens. So I love doing this technique, even for somebody that I'm just kind of adding a new tone to, adding new dimension to. I feel like it is, pull that guy back in. I just feel like it's a gentler way to approach these color techniques for our clients. Okay, same thing, I'm gonna do the same one here. I'm gonna go wide and I'm gonna do 3 small, and then I'm gonna do another wide. The reason I'm doing that is because I want a little bit more concentration in my weave pattern on the sides. I want that real big like pop to happen. And then through the middle, this crown area, I'm creating a lot of beautiful dimension through that crown and kind of using her natural grow out as my low light, for lack of better words. Right, kind of feather up, and I know I can feather on a horizontal because see how much closer this one is than this. It gives me that instant drop. Okay, and you're covering major ground. Okay, you guys, so one thing I forgot to mention, this giveaway that I was talking about, that Draco does with all of their lives, okay? They are so awesome, such a giving company. I love that brands that, you know, we support them and they turn around and support us right back. And so Draco during this live is going to give you guys this like massive kit of product and color for you to try. So in order to be entered into this giveaway, all you have to do is ask me questions or just sort of engage with me. There's a chat box going on, and engage with me. Let me know, and I have 3 to give away, which is super exciting. Usually it's 1, and also I get to pick the winner, which is really fun, but I'm nervous about it too. So please engage with me, and as I get a chance to stop and take a little second, I will check the chat box and I will pick a winner. All right, this next section was like a good solid, I just kind of hit to the round of her head here. So I just did a really, really dimensional highlight all the way through. And the more that I mix up my weave pattern, the more variety I'm gonna get, right? And it's like I'm doing this all in one application. Okay, so when I get to the round of her head, really keep tension here on this hair and wrap this foil right around her head, and that's how we're getting that close pattern at the top. Now this doll head has so much texture to her that you can even see this isn't even like texture that I was cutting into her. But if you have a client that has really long hair, you know, and these tips are going so far that you're feeling a little bit overwhelmed by it, that's where this technique too is so helpful. Just going right through and paint all the way through the ends. Okay, we'll go back with my 20 just because I want to be gentle on these tips and paint all the way through, leaving that open. And I feel like it kind of helps, like it lifts in between the two in order to keep that balayage off of those other ends. Zakia, is there a question?
I do. Suggestions for level 4. Would weaving be good start to all over color removal, then go through second time with weaving to desired lightness?
So they have, repeat it again for me, Zakia. They have level 4 colored hair.
So
you
yeah.
need to remove.
So suggestions for level 4. Would weaving be good to start all over color removal?
Oh, all over color removal. Okay, got it. Yes, absolutely. I mean, you never know what color, unless as a client you've been doing, you kind of just never know what you're getting into when you're working with hair that's been colored that dark. So absolutely, I think if you can do a strand test, if you've never done them before, then that is super helpful to do a strand test. I know it's extra time, but I think you kind of need to gauge how honest your client is with you, and if they, if they're being honest about what color's on there. If it's box color, I mean, you're in for a whole other ball game. So I absolutely think that this would make a big impact for that person, even if it's just their first application. Then maybe the other thing I would add, if you were gonna do that, is additional tipping out, okay? Because if they have nothing on their ends, you're really only giving them one tip out. Like the reason this is working is because I'm adding additional tip to old highlights, basically. So that would be my only other recommendation for that.
All right, Jill, I have another question.
Yeah.
Do you ever feel like your foils slip?
So I typically work with an assistant, okay? So for me to be going in and doing this on a doll head shows me that it's doable, right? This is kind of how I learned this technique, how I taught myself, was playing around, trying different things, trying to figure out how can I maximize my results and really maximize my time. So as long as you are keeping, I'll show you guys again in the next section, as long as you are keeping your tension tight on that hair, I haven't had any issues with it slipping on me. And again, this doll head is, I mean, she's got a large head. I'm not sure what her name is, but you know, it's a big one. All right, so let me go through really quick and show you guys kind of where I'm at, and then I'll show you that tension. So I'm kind of right at the high point of her head now. So I've been taking 1-inch sections up until here, very dimensional through these last two, and very wide dipped sections through the bottom, okay? So we're getting more and more pop, if you can kind of start to visualize. This hair, right, don't forget it's on this round of her head, right, going all the way to the sides, that is actually that side piece we would normally be putting into foils, okay? So I'm going heavier here, dimensional through the back. When I get to this top section here, I'm actually gonna start taking about 1/2-inch sections, and as I get closer to the front, I'll work in 1/4-inch sections, okay? Again, just really want that pop in the front for her, okay? Turn her back this way, and then let me show you that tension. And then Zakia, yes, what is your question?
There's a few more questions I have.
Amazing.
How did you come up with this sectioning? I haven't seen sectioning like this before.
Well, that's good. At least I'm not teaching you something you've seen, right? This sectioning, how I came up with this, honestly, my clients, okay, by the time California got back into the salon, some of my clients I had not seen in literally almost a year. And I just was getting a little bit overwhelmed, to be honest, with, I mean, I can't spend 6 hours on each client. I'll never get them in. So I really was working on doll heads all through quarantine, trying to come up with ways I can cover some serious ground without jeopardizing my work in any way, because that's not worth it, right? It is not about just shoving these clients in and out of the door. Like, that is not good for our businesses. And as long as I felt like I could give the same result to my client as what she would have gotten if I would have seen her in 3 months, then I felt like it was a technique that was worth using all the time. So that was it. It was about limiting sections. How do I cover serious grounds, you know, in the same amount of foiling time, to be honest. And it's been fun, actually. I'll kind of talk about this later in the business chat, but it's been fun posting these videos, and my clients are like, oh, you know that one that you taught? Like, I want that one. You know, it's like my clients have gotten excited over these new techniques I'm coming up with, and still able to see beautiful results. Okay.
I have another question, Jill.
Yeah.
Would it be better to use a clay lightener in the ends for a softer lift?
That's a good question. So you absolutely could. If you prefer clay lightener, Absolutely. My only thing is timing, okay? So if you're trying to make this an express service, and clay lightener can be incredible for balayage ends. I think you need to go off of how light are her ends already, and how dark is this? Like how dark is her level that I need to lift through? And that I think can give you your answer there. Because for me, this is all about washing her at the same time. Hopefully that helps answer your question. I'm staying with a very dimensional weave here, okay? And pulling that up. Still, I'm using that subsection when I'm tucking this here. Going all the way to the top, okay? This center is my guide, and then I'm wrapping and pulling this around, and tension here the entire time. I'm doing it with no assistant, and I'm doing it on a doll head, which does not have the same, I don't know if you guys have worked on doll heads during, you know, quarantine or just even for life and practice, but everything falls all over the place. Really good saturation here. Still using my 30 on all that dark.
Jill, I have another question.
Awesome.
I see moving to the second subsection, a larger amount of hair was left out. Is this to have the highlight pop more?
Absolutely. Yes. So, and if you think about too, as you're working up the head, so I went from 1 inch in the back, okay? And then don't forget, we have a little spot in here I completely left alone, right? So I'm trying to use this old grow out to my advantage and really make that her low light. So I went from 1 inch sections to the round of her head, and then I started working into 1/2 inch sections. Then I'm going to work into a 1/4 inch right around her face. Okay, I'm wrapping that out of my way. We're getting there, we're climbing that mountain, almost there. And again, I find, actually let me show you really quick. So see where we're at now? We're in front of her ear now. Now it's time to move to 1/4 inch sections. I love to see stylists, and I do this all the time, drop this hair down and see where it's falling. Let it kind of do its thing, so then you're like, oh yeah, that actually looks like that's gonna fall to the front of her face, or no, I'm still working where this hair is falling back. Because everyone's head shape is different, and hairlines. I have a hairline that really, my hair falls forward so much. So I find that if I don't get enough blonding through there, then it still feels very almost stripey, for lack of better words, where I have a little bit too much depth happening. Okay. Yes, Zakia.
Which lightener do you think is better, the clay or the cream?
I think they're used for very different techniques. If you're only really trying to get a certain amount of lift, the clay is great for doing open air balayage because it doesn't go anywhere. You know what I mean? Like you don't have to worry about it running or doing anything. But if I'm gonna put something in foils and I know that I'm going from, you know, a level 6 and I want her to be at a 10, I would prefer the cream in here to really give control over that lift. If you're only going and you want to shift 1 or 2 levels, then absolutely, you could do clay as well. Okay.
Also, another question.
Yeah.
What is the difference in your foiling when tucking the foil forward than backwards?
Oh, I don't have one. I think it's a habit, to be honest. I think that I usually tuck under my rat tail comb, like my weaving comb. I tuck it under and I fold it forward. And then that's why I feel like I'm probably folding this back, just because I'm doing that right now. But no, I don't think that unless you're going to do where you lock the foil in, that's really the only time it matters that which direction you're folding the foil. But for me on this technique, we're not gonna lock this in. We're not really trying to get all the way up to her root. I really want this to have a soft result at the top, because again, that's gonna save me time at the bowl when I go to tone her. If I was doing a blonde, you could absolutely change this technique to then lock in. I just love how much ground we're covering in such a short amount of time. And I feel like it's less foiling too. Okay, we're here. All right, we're almost to this section here. Right in here is where, if this is our money piece, right in here, I want to make sure, again, this is a rounded section, just with the way her hair is, I want to make sure I give myself a tiny bit of a veil. So I feel like I'm right at that point where if I do another 1/4 inch section here, I'm going straight across her head. This piece in here, if I can grab it, is going to be that veil over that money piece. So I feel like I'm at the perfect spot to add one more in here. Kind of separate that out because I can even check. Okay, is this falling forward? Yes, that's still falling forward. Okay, and we'll take our subsection here. And again, I'm working straight across, but in a rounded section. So that's what's helping create that instant V pattern for me. Okay, turn this back around. On this one here, I want to do another one of the weaves that I did in the back. I want to go wide. I'm going to go skinny, 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 and then another wide. I want a little more drama on these ends, if you can see that. Okay, grab this, fold, and really tuck in there. Give yourself a lot of tension here. Going back to that 30. Really push that lightener in, you guys, when you're working on a brunette. I don't so much swirl, but I'll kind of go back and forth on those pieces to make sure the saturation is there. And again, that's also why I take that subsection, because it gives me that little security that I'll get through the hair. There's nothing worse than getting through an entire foiling situation and then you go to rinse it and you're just like, oh, there's spots. You know, you're like, she did not ask for cheetah print hair. And it's just a little discouraging when you take all that time. So just take the time to do it first and it will be much easier. This section's super dark here. So I'm gonna run my 30 all the way through. And you can see this piece is barely kind of poking out of this foil, but that's probably a good thing to keep the heat trapped in this one a little bit more because she had literally had no lighter dimension on this piece. And that's kind of another reason I like that you can control it that way, where it's needed. And if there was any point that you wanted to go in between and tip out, like if you had someone, I think whoever asked before about the level 4, this is where you could go back through and tip out some of these if that's solid dark all the way through. It'll give you an extra little bonus. All right, so this was my veil piece that was going over my money piece. I'm going to leave that alone. Okay, let's take that and just kind of tuck it back.
I have a question, Jill.
Yeah.
Working on someone with 30% silver in the front and top, when would it be good to apply color to control base color and removal of silver?
Yeah, okay, so when you're trying to do a gray coverage, I always apply mine first. I do that first. I want to make sure that sits and it really works, right? There's also nothing worse than rinsing a gray base or a base. You're trying to cover gray and you're like, oh my gosh, it didn't cover, right? That is very time consuming for us. So I always put that on first. A little tip with that is if I know I'm going in and I'm foiling, in addition to that, I will do a level lighter with that base formula on their hairline because I don't want this base here on her hairline to suck up and go dark. And then I'm sitting here trying to foil through that. Too much depth right in here is it's actually aging, right? So I recommend a level lighter here and then kind of always start in the back. Work forward with your application. And then using a foiling technique like this where you can go through it quickly will also then hopefully, right, always, fingers crossed, we can process things at the same time. If, however, this is lightening so quickly, these little end pieces, I can always rinse those because I can see them. That's what I love about it as well. Okay, so hopefully you guys can see that. We literally covered her whole head. We just have hairline to do. Easy peasy, right? So I want to chat hairlines here. Hairlines are they're really pretty cool. You can honestly customize these in so many ways on a brunette. All right, let's give you a couple ways. Number one, we could go through and we could kind of blast this hairline, right? We could do some vertical sections like this, so that way when this is pulled back, it is super blonde for her. We can go in and we can create, if we go more horizontal and kind of like almost like a diagonal back, I guess, not horizontal, because that would get a little too chunky. However, it's another option. I prefer like a diagonal back, and I almost create triangles as I work up the side, because then when this lifts up, I still have dimension, okay? My preference on a brunette is to have a soft hairline, so when they pull it up, they don't feel like they are blasted blondes. And then when they pull it down, they have anything too chunky or too heavy. There is a trend for that, absolutely, and that's a thing. I'm not saying that that is not a look. I'm saying more kind of when you're creating that lived-in, softer brunette vibe, okay? So let me kind of show you how I've been doing my brunette hairlines. And at the very end, when she's all set and done and blown out, I'll be able to show you guys what that really creates. So I'm doing a diagonal back here, okay, on this, doing this little corner on her. Still staying with a back-to-back weave, okay, where I'm dipping all the way to the front and to the back. You can see that there, back to back. However, I'm going to give her a slight tease here, okay? Start your tease low and build it, okay? Not a lot of little ones on the hairline hair. Just my preference. I feel like it's a little bit softer, and I feel like if you have a client that was gonna freak out about a tease, doing it really soft and subtle like that will be okay. Okay, really try to pull that tease out of your way a little bit. I'm gonna jump to my 20 volume, okay? So this is her hairline. Keeping this a touch lower for some glue to kind of hold it in place. Then I'm just gonna ever so lightly feather this in here. What this is gonna do is create more of a shadowed front piece. She's still gonna have lightness and brightness around her face. It's just not gonna be coming straight off of her scalp, and it's not going to cause a major line of demarcation as it grows out. I feel like this money piece is lasting my brunettes longer. And again, I kind of was brainstorming with this technique with another girlfriend of mine, because again, it's like sometimes I have my brunettes that just need to come in and get a money piece, you know, and right now, if you are limited on your service times and what you can offer people, you might not have time to just have someone come in for 6 foils on their hairline, right? Number one, does that make sense business-wise? And timing, right? So this second one now, this is where it's gonna change. She's still in a diagonal back, and I'm not taking that very front piece in it. I'm gonna take, not a baby light, but not chunky pieces in here, okay? She's got a little depth in between. Turn her a little more for you guys. And this one, I am going to take all the way up.
So I have a question.
Yeah.
What do you prefer for a good shadow? Lumishine? Would you say it's sheer coverage or opaque?
So the Lumishine comes in a liquid and it comes in a demi. So I think it depends on how much depth you need for a shadow. If I'm working with brunettes, I will do the cream a lot because it kind of gives me like an extra grip and a hold and a little bit more depth, right, in there. Even if I'm using the same formula, I just feel like I get a little bit different of a coverage. And then when I'm working on a blonde, I usually use liquid for all of it. Today, I'm gonna do liquid on her specifically. The mannequin hair is it's just different. the demi will get almost like cover my results a little bit too much. They don't have a cuticle, so your results are a little bit different. But in the salon, I do use a cream here and a liquid through the ends. All right, right in here, you're gonna have, this is where the cul-de-sac is gonna kind of starting on your girls. It's gonna be a little bit weaker area. I usually go right through it, okay? Because I wanna make sure that we're getting some coverage in there. However, if they have some little babies that cannot handle it, then don't foil them, you guys. Let those pieces live and breathe. On her, she's very strong, obviously, so I'm gonna take that front piece. I'm gonna go in, I'm gonna weave, and I've left a little more dimension on now this third foil. She's gonna get a slight back comb, okay? A little one shot. And again, because I took that front piece, that's creating then a slight little shadow for her. And it's gonna result in a much softer brunette hairline piece. Okay, going up, I'm only using my 20 volume on these hairlines, you guys. I would rather that take a little more time to lift on my girls than to blast these hairlines and then the next time they come and see me, they don't have a hairline, right? That's so sad when we see that. I find that, I don't know if you guys do too, but I fix that a lot. I really find with clients that gets taken off quite often. So I just want you guys to be really, really mindful. Okay, she's gonna get one more. This again, on a human, what I see is the cul-de-sac sets like this. Then I end up with this corner piece is usually set back a little bit. It's almost in line with like the back part of my money piece. And what that is I'm letting those baby hairs fall out. Like let's pretend these are, you know, broken little bits. I'll kind of take those off, or they're just not strong enough. Those would kind of fall out like this, and then I'd set my foil right behind that. That's true for a blonde too. I do the same exact thing. On her it's a little bit different, so I have to go right in and go for it. Okay, but I am gonna give this, because it's gonna be right on her face right there, I am going to give her a slight little tease and give her some softness.
A question, Joe.
Yeah.
When you pull out your foils, what would you suggest in not getting stained if your towel blot your sections after removing from foil?
So, okay, Zakia, can you say that one more time for
so-
me? So you not getting stained. Oh, on the ends of the hair. Is that what you mean?
Yes.
Okay. So the ends of the hair, honestly, I would take it back just like this. Run your water right over the top of these foils and rinse those ends first. You don't want any color from anywhere else. Like let's say you had a gray base on or anything. You gotta rinse those ends as best you can first. And then you gotta get rid of the other, get through the other color, get it rinsed out. Do your best to keep that separate. Take clips with you to the bowl, any of that, because again, we need our lives to be easy, not harder, right? We do not need to end up back at the bowl with a color correction on her ends or reapplying lightener. Okay, so finished side here, okay? You're gonna have your 3 foils here, and then you're gonna have your cul-de-sac kind of connector piece. I'm going to leave this guy because he is my veil, right? This little friend here. And when I drop this down, I can check like, oh my gosh, beautiful. I'm gonna have a light piece laying right in front of that. Okay, let's jump to here. Well, actually, I will go over to this section mainly in the salon. And since we gotta finish her completely, so I can tone her as well, I'm just gonna go ahead and do that. Please continue to ask any questions, you guys, as I cruise through this. And also, keep asking any of those questions that maybe you think I can get to later as well. If there's anything you guys want to add, I'm going to stop after she is foiled and kind of check through the chat and see if there's anything else that you guys want me to touch on. And that's my dog barking. So that's fun. Okay, do a little tease on that first one, a little feather, lots of saturation, and I'm paying attention to the ends here, right? 20 volume on these ends. Because this is her hairline. She had no color in there was no light pieces, but I still want to be super mindful of that. It's always a great time too to go back and check this section in here. Let's see how she's lifting, how she's lightening. This I can right here, I can swipe it if I need to. I can pull and do a porosity check if I need to. Super, super easy. That is just right there for me to see. And if I feel like she's doing okay, I'll keep working. If I don't feel like it's okay, I will stop what I'm doing and go back and rinse those ends. Even if it means I'm not taking her to the bowl, but I'm doing a quick, water and towel. Or then you can always do a little, like a leave-in spray on there. Okay, the second one does not have a tease. Okay, because this will be right there. If you weave, so see right here, this is kind of like even my mistake as I'm going. Rather than stopping, if I see that this was right on her hairline, just go ahead and give a little feather on that one, and then go in and take these guys higher, right? Take the time as you're foiling so that you're not spending so much time at the bowl doing all your toning. It's really more about knowing your toning formulas and getting that result in a quick 10 to 20 minutes. That should not be where you spend too much of your time.
Jill.
Yeah.
Suggestions working on someone with microwave, super light, and dark with months of dark regrowth. How should one start? Should they tone all over and then create new highlights?
Yeah, that's tricky. I don't love doing that, to be honest. I don't love toning down a highlight and then going right over the top of it. It doesn't go away, right? That the porosity is the same, even if we color it. So with a micro highlight, I honestly feel like you need to do your best to use the natural growth as your low light. And then when you are picking through and you're weaving, you might just need to spend a little bit more time to pick out some of those ones that have already been lightened. And I'm not saying we're gonna take, you don't need to add an additional hour of your time doing that. I just would be mindful as you're going through the foil. I'll kind of show you on the next one. Like if she were to have, if I pull this down, and she's got these little baby highlight, kind of start your foiling down here rather than up in here, and really try to pick those out as best you can, and then go in and just weave out the dark spots, or you'll go in and then retouch those light ones. So you could go either way depending on what your overall outcome, what the goal is. Like, is she want to be lighter? Does she want to be darker? Whatever kind of the case might be for that.
Jill.
Yeah.
Have you ever weaved and sliced to get a blended look?
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. I feel like that's really fun. And I use that technique quite a bit on curly hair, because I find that curly hair, the density is like so thick here and then it's thin at the end. So the slicing is it's really impactful. And then you don't feel like you just went through, weaved a whole head, and you're like, wait, where are the highlights? So I love that technique. Again, I think it's all about placement of that so that you don't feel like your slice is, a big old chunk on the end. However, I wore that in beauty school. I totally rocked the Kelly Clarkson look. And if you guys know Rihanna Capri, she's the one that gave it to me. We went to beauty school together, and I colored her hair we did blonde, and then we did like a brown, and then we did like a red underneath, or sometimes black. And I got the Kelly Clarkson chunks, and I did 3 different tones on them. So yeah, we were really really going for it back in the day.
I have another question. Do
Yeah.
you color melt or root shadow after this or just tone? If you do root shadow or anything, is that additional to your balayage service?
Good question.
Price-wise.
I absolutely go back and I tap into everything. I mean, pretty much everything. The only time I really do like an all over tone on something is when I'm using like a high lift formula. I feel like that's kind of when I would do that most, but I do it even if it's quick. I just feel like that's the icing on the cake, and I feel like it's how we set ourselves apart as artists, really taking the time to do that for our clients. I feel like it seals down everything. It's your chance to kind of check your highlights, make sure nothing is splotchy, right? Because we're not perfect, and sometimes we're going to do a really good feather on one highlight and maybe not on another. So yes, I will always go in and root shadow and all over gloss my clients. Okay, so remember this piece here, that's another corner, but that's my depth because I know I have brightness here. Now again, this girl's got a large forehead happening. I would say a majority of the time, real humans don't have this. You're gonna be a little bit more square here. I'm a little bit more rounded, but this is, again, I'm gonna do fine sections here, going all the way from corner to corner of my section. Make sure you're taking from both sides, okay? So that this is connecting in here, all right? You need those to kind of like marry together to make that, and then your depth is behind it. This again is a fun brunette trick, okay? So I'm giving her a slight tease, working from here.
Jill, what's your thoughts on highlighting the baby hairs in front?
Okay, so I like to not, honestly. I like to push those out of my way, and I like to give them an opportunity to grow and to live. If it is going to be game changing in the result, because sometimes people have baby hairs that are actually pretty thick, right? Or it goes back really far, and I know it's gonna create kind of like too much depth and almost like a, like a track running back. I'll definitely pick out a couple and go through there. I'm very open and honest with my clients too, and I will say, hey, I'm giving you this money piece today, but you're not gonna get it every time. We can't, or you will end up with no hair right there. A lot of times on my blondes, I gotta tell them that too, and just be honest with them. Okay, since this is the piece right in the front that is slowly backcombed, it's okay that I'm not getting all the way to the top, right, on this front one. This is that veil that's going to not give her a blazing piece when she pulls her hair back. Okay, working through here. I like to take the hair, pull it to the sides. This is also continues to give me that visual of what is happening. All right. Go through here. I'm gonna do another one. This is gonna be another back to back right in here. But this one will be kind of a little bit, I'm not going all the way across just because she's so round, right? I'm gonna kind of give myself a little right in here. Pull that guy out. And again, this one's a little bit custom to her head shape. So if this is a step that you don't have to do, then I don't think you need to do that. But for people with a low forehead or even a widow's peak, this is absolutely how you can go in and tackle that widow's peak. So this one is not teased. It sets right in behind there. Still working only with my 20 volume, okay, on these little babes in here. Coming up here, yes.
Do you use heat while processing, or do you like to let it process in room temperature?
I do both, to be honest. We don't have hooded dryers at our salon. We just decided that we don't use them enough to take up the space. And if we do, I just put my diffuser on the Dyson and I make my assistant do it. Poor thing. No, I do it as well. But I then will just kind of hit spots that I feel like need to catch up to others. Or if I have a problem one, if I've gone back here and as I'm checking my foils, I open it and I'm like, that's actually another reason why I like kind of sandwiching these foils instead. But if I go back and I open this up and I'm having like a problem spot, then I know I can either reapply, mush around, and then give it a little heat. And so I like the control that a blow dryer gives me versus a hooded dryer. I just can't really control where the heat is going, and if some of the other ones don't need it, then I don't want to give it to them. Okay, now we gotta give this girl her money piece, the aggressive one that she wants for when her hair is down. So I'm splitting that down the middle. If she's insistent and she parts in one spot, you can do it off of that, but I'm gonna give her 2 pivot method foils here, and she's gonna be done. All right, so that really we'd be able to tackle that then in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right through here. So pivot method, I'm grabbing that very, very front piece so that it's back to back with this guy, and I'm going on a diagonal back, creating depth, okay? So as I go back here, in this, I'm gonna have a wider section here to a skinny section there. It's like a triangle happening through there. And what that is doing for me is, again, now I have this depth right here, right? That's setting behind this brightness. And then I also, in addition to that, have a concentrated brightness from this guy to this guy. Okay. Kind of go in there. If the hair at this point on this specific one starts to get a little stronger and denser, it's okay to move to 30 because you know that you're pulling this soon. And this again just helps kind of keep it processing all at the same time. Sometimes I'll even mix. So I just did a 20 and then I'll do a quick little scooch of 30 over the top. All right, fold that up so you can see we're going to be concentrated here to a little less there, and I have more depth in between. Okay guys, it's almost time for me to pick my first giveaway winner. So get your questions in. Zakia's reading the chat, she's going to help me out. Okay, same thing, diagonal back. I'm gonna take that front piece and go back. Now this one is that veil kind of over the top. If you remember that we left that section in between, that's the veil. If I stay here and I stay horizontal with my section, even though I took a diagonal back, you see how that gives me more depth here than there. Okay, this piece I'll do 30 volume and paint up. And it instantly kind of creates that drop for me. Anything we can do to help our timing and give us a very consistent result. I feel like, you know, our clients want that. Clients want to know they can show us a picture, and we need to be confident in whether or not we can do it. So I think also it's very important to be honest with that. And if it's not something that you're confident in, then I would be honest about it. I feel like people are a little more, it goes a long way, you know? Sorry, this little guy's stuck. So again, I'm kind of creating that corner, but you see how I have in this one here? This one's in that foil, so I know I have depth, so that's okay to have a little smaller spot here. And then there's this depth that will lay right in here along her face. Don't forget to drop your sections, you guys, if you need to, as you're learning this technique. Drop those pieces down and just see where they're gonna fall.
Jill,
Yes.
does this lightener swell?
I feel like every lightener swells, I think. I mean, I can't tell you maybe a Joico team person can tell you kind of like the chemistry behind it. But yes, I feel like every lightener swells a little bit. But I feel like it's more with heat, to be honest. If there's too much heat happening, from either like just their body temperature or anything like that, then it's gonna swell on me more. But Joyco can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that's science? Not sure.
And approximately how long does it take you to foil?
I would say this technique would be done in 45 minutes if I wasn't talking so much. Don't even know how long it's been, but I would say a 45-minute application, and that's even on the thickest of hair.
Also, do you provide a service just for the money piece, and how would you price that?
Yeah, that's a good question. I do. Right now, kind of where I am swamped getting back with my clients, I'm not really offering it. I just, again, we gotta maximize our time, and I'm just making sure that I'm capitalizing on that time I do have with my client, making it as full of a service as possible. You know, it's like I'm not offering a bang trim right now, little things like that where it's like, there's just two, you know, we have, I don't even know how many months at this point, 7 months of time that we're trying to make up. And my clients, I feel like, and nobody's asked for it, to be honest. Nobody's been like weird and wanted those kind of services where before when you could double book, because in California you cannot double book. So before it's something that would be like a bonus where I could just add in a quick little hairline piece while another full highlight is processing. Right now it's not an option. Pricing for that, good question. I feel like I can't even remember what my pricing is on that specifically, but I always, with my pricing, I go off of timing. How long is it gonna take me? Because my knowledge and my time is what you're paying for, right? Like, that is why we are individual artists and we're giving our clients, they want a service from us, right? They're not just walking into any sort of, restaurant ordering the same thing. Every single person's menu is different. Our creativity is different, our application. So really charge what it's worth to you. I can't emphasize that enough. Last thing, you guys, she is done, but the last thing is don't forget about these little guys under here, right? So if you feel like you want to add a little bit more tipping through here, you absolutely can drop that section. The reason I'm not on her is because she has old highlights happening through here, okay? I'm not trying to blonde her. I really want her to feel lived in. So this depth that's all under here is actually going to work to my benefit. Now, if she was somebody who was like, I only wear my hair up, then maybe what I would give her is a soft little hairline, kind of a teased one on each side. One here, and it's set at a V, and that would be it for her. Okay? All right, so there it is. I think let's look really quick at our kind of our tipped out pieces, and we can kind of see, can also kind of do a fold if you need to get in there and see how those are lifting. And then if I feel like anything has dried out, the fact that this is out here in the open, I can go back through and I can retouch some of these that I need to. All right, see that in there? Awesome. Okay, you guys, we made it through her application. I'm actually going to hand her off to my assistant. She's going to be watching her and then removing it, so that way when we come back, we'll do a little business chat. We come back, I can show you guys how I would tone this and kind of how the raw results are, because that's kind of always fun to see. So here she goes. Everybody say bye. Oh, maybe not. There she is. Beauty. And you can kind of see the Mohawk action happening through there. Okay? All right. There you go, Zakia. All you, sister.
Yay.
Okay, guys. So, Zakia, before you go anywhere, we gotta pick a winner. Who's our winner?
Okay.
Winner. Help me out here. Drum roll. I want to pick somebody that you feel like was asking a lot of questions, or, I don't know. Maybe somebody who hasn't tried Joyco before. That's kind of fun. Actually, why don't you put in the chat box, because I can pick 3 of you. Put in the chat box if you've tried Joyco or not, because I'd love for you to get your hands on this product and try it out. So I definitely want to pick somebody who's never tried Joyco. but maybe if there's somebody who asks a couple questions,
Yeah.
let's pick them first. What I need from you is when we say their name, we need your full name, and we need your Salon Republic location so that Joyco can get that shipped off to you. So, drum roll, Zakia.
Okay.
That's the drum roll. That was good.
All right, your first winner is Yesenia Razo.
Ooh, Yesenia Razo, you are the big winner. Woo!
Yay.
So please leave your full name and your Salon Republic location in the chat box, and we'll get that off to you. It's got some Defy Damage in there. It's got Lightener. It's got Youth Lock. All the good things, and I'm excited for you to try it. And yeah, so hopefully everybody is still here. I don't know how long we've been going. We've been going an hour. I did it. All right, we're gonna move on to some business talk, okay? And I know talking can be boring. We're hairstylists, so I would love for you guys to. I'm gonna try to pull up the chat too, so that I can kind of do this with you guys. I don't know about you guys, but I'm really missing human connection. We are such, people that we need to. I don't know, I guess we go into this business because we love people, we love creativity, all of that. So that's been hard for sure, just not being able to be there in person with you guys. This would have been a live event where I'm there, we're hands-on doing this together. So I'm gonna grab my computer and we're gonna jump into some chatting. If you guys would kind of put in there, if there's something that as I go through this list of things that I'm talking about, I'm going to talk about upgrading your menu, I'm going to talk about some assistant chatting, and I'm going to talk about kind of your life as a suite owner. So let me know. If there's something in there that I'm missing, then please ask away. You can always also DM me at Jill901 on Instagram, and I would be happy to answer any questions you've got. Oh, awesome. Is it on the phone?
Yeah.
We got things everywhere. Okay, I'm just looking at this really quick because I haven't seen it yet. Okay, yay. Awesome. You guys, thank you for being here. All right, let's go into upgrading your menu. Yesterday I did a whole live on dry cutting. Dry cutting has always been a part of my business because I think the aesthetic that 901 has and the aesthetic that I've adapted over the last 10 years of being an artist in LA. Everything's beachy, everything's effortless, and I just felt like I had more control over my results when I would dry cut. So it's been a lot of years that I've been doing that. And then obviously, since life has changed and our timing is different, and for some of us that had to do hair outside, I mean, how crazy was that? We had to adapt and we had to learn these new techniques. So dry cutting is going to be huge for you if you don't already do it. It's going to be huge for you with timing, okay? It's going to help. If you can tell your client to come in with clean hair on their air dry texture, that's going to give you the best idea of what you're working with, okay? And for a lot of them that are not even going to their offices anymore or anything like that, this is like a great way to let them air dry their hair. And this service has become so requested of my clients, and it's funny, I don't really take new clients, but for a long time, when it was a lot of questions of, oh, you're gonna cut my hair dry? Every time, I swear, I think I got that question, and I was like, yes, absolutely. I want you to be able to get out of the shower, air dry this, and it will look just how I cut it. And in addition to that, I style them out and make it beautiful, and that's just kind of like an additional service. So as far as upgrading your menu, if you feel like it is beneficial for you because it cuts your time down and you can get more clients in, offer just a dry cutting service, okay? They come in, they got clean hair, you cut them, go, bye. You can give them a discount on their service, but it is, I shouldn't say, I take that back, not a discount on their service, but it's an additional service. It is different. It's something you've never offered before. And if they want that with zero styling from you, okay, you need to be very firm about that because the timing should be Like, let's say you book an hour for a haircut, okay? That's the wash, that's the blowout, that's the cut. Why don't you offer a 30-minute service, give them a different price, and it is bye, okay? You can't get into like additional styling or anything like that, because then that's when our clients will take advantage. But if that helps you get more people in your chair, it's another great way to upgrade your menu. New color techniques. Those are huge. Like I was saying before, I've been sharing this stuff on Instagram, and yeah, it felt a little crazy for a while because it was doll heads and people were like, ah, those guys are scary. Now it's gotten a little bit more normal. My clients are a little bit more used to it, and they're like, whoa, I want that technique. And they literally will sit in my chair and say, I want the sunshine technique, or I want the Mohawk balayage, because they see the results instantly, and it's kind of a cool banter I have with them with that. So I think whatever you choose to adapt, take the Mohawk balayage, put it on your menu, absolutely. Offer that to your clients. Anything that I share with you guys and all those educators out there, it's not meant to not be talked about, you know? So add that to your menu. If you found something that another artist has done incredible, add that to your menu. Start doing it on your clients and start chatting about it in your posts that people, it's recognizable, okay? You can charge whatever your timing is worth to you. If one technique starts to take you a little bit longer, charge for that. Okay, and it's kind of these additional things that you can put on your personal menu, and your clients will get used to that, rather than it's just a partial highlight and just a full highlight. Sometimes our clients are like, I don't know what I want, or they don't want to spend as much money, so they won't do the full when the technique they're wanting is actually a full. So really, I encourage you to start giving these things names and titles. Then they will understand before you even start the process. Okay, let's see here. Promoting, Zakia, can you open for me and tell me if there's any questions? Sorry, it's a lot to manage all of this. Again, your social is such a big tool for you guys. Like, I cannot tell you enough. Or do you want to see if there's any questions for me while you're waiting for her? If you can scroll through. Mm-hmm. If you are, let's say you're super good at something. Maybe you are crushing a gray technique, okay? Where we've seen this trend a little bit of like our gray clients are like, oh, I don't want to do my base anymore. And I think obviously being in quarantine was a big component of that. But hey, jump on that trend, get good at it, or start promoting that you do that, okay? So use your social for that. Get either borrow somebody, right? Say, hey friend, I need you. I need to get some rad shots of you. Let's get this going. Start sharing that you're good at gray techniques, or if you have a wedding that's coming up, anything that you as an artist love to do, start getting pictures of that and promoting yourself in that way. That's only going to draw in more clients. I go through phases personally where I'm really inspired by certain things, so I'll share those throughout my Instagram, and I have gotten clients from literally all over the world, and it's that's the dream for me. Like, I love to travel. I love connecting with people, and so that's what drives my passion, is what type of people can I draw into my chair? Who do I want to spend my day with, right? We're all in control of that, and so I really encourage you to use social media. Is like almost everybody is on it. Like, my mom is on it. It's like my grandma. Like, it just almost every single person is on social media these days. So I just feel like it is a free tool for you. I can't encourage you enough. There are some incredible social classes too. I am by no means a social guru, and I've had help with mine in the past too. Saga House is an incredible, Cynthia owns. She is incredible, and she does the hair game. She knows it, not the hair game YouTube that we're on. I mean, she knows the hair world so good. She's an ex-hairstylist and has really helped me kind of cultivate my entire page, because that is your brand, okay? That's what you're sharing with the world. So do your best to keep clean photos. Use a consistent wall. Oh, I'm gonna actually talk about that later. Use a consistency as you're posting, so that it doesn't get lost or jumbled or overwhelmed from clientele trying to book with you. Okay, do we have anything really quick before I move on?
What are the most effective hashtags you use to
Mm.
reach potential clients?
Okay, I am not the best at that, and Cynthia from Saga House will tell you. The best ones, number one, there's free social classes constantly on I would say Instagram, on YouTube. Please, please, please do yourself a favor, just like you're sitting here with me now, and take the time to go watch a couple because they're life-changing. But number two, I think what I learned is whatever your area is, your demographic, if you're hashtagging, like for me, it's LA hairstylist. So if I have a new client that's coming to the area, a lot of them, that's what they'll put in, right? Or let's say they're flying to our area to want to get their hair done. So I think your demographic is huge, and then doing your little, I think it's called a geotag, right? Tagging your location, because sometimes people go off of locations to find people as well. Second to that with hashtags, it is all about that specific service and give it a name. If you want to take the Mohawk Balayage and you want to call it something else, stay consistent with that. Give yourself your own hashtag. Like I have the hashtag Jill901 and I also have the hashtag JillBuck. That if someone for some reason referred me, they can go right to my hashtag and they can see my work as like a compilation there as well. Hopefully that answers that question.
Also, what camera do you use for your photos?
Okay, I've gone through lots of different cameras over the years. I did a Samsung for a while. It was just like a cute little handheld thing. I still love that. But if I am, out of whack and forget that, I upgrade my phone. It's so annoying, I know. But every time that stupid camera option is something different and something better, and I write off a portion of my phone because it is an expense. It is something that is so important for our business. Our work is all visual, okay? So if you need to upgrade your phone, upgrade your phone. They're incredible now these days. But the Samsung, I also think, is this great little one. I can't remember what it's called. But you'll see it when you look. It's like a cute little handheld situation. And it has Wi-Fi, like airdropping the photos. So it's instant. I don't have to plug it into my computer and kind of switch and do all that. Okay, can we move on to the next section?
Yes.
Feeling good? Mm-hmm. Let's move on. Okay, I want to talk about assistants for a second. Assistants, when I first started, first of all, I've been doing hair for 18 years, but in LA for 10. When I first started, I was like, I can't afford an assistant. Are you crazy? Like, it's already hard enough to pay your rent, get your color costs, get your styling, all of that kind of stuff. And you're slower, right, when you start. That was like, I can't afford an assistant. When I started working around people that had, that had assistants, and I saw they were busting through 6 clients when I was getting through 3, I was like, okay, it makes a little bit more sense now. And as I get older and I've been doing this longer and longer, my body is so grateful for an assistant as well. If we are going to be doing hair for as long as we need to be doing hair, you guys gotta be careful about your body and your health. So if nothing else, those 2 things right there are game changing with having an assistant. So here are some of my ideas if, let's say you just can't afford one, right? There is plenty of girls out there. I get messages all the time about, are you hiring an assistant? Are you hiring an assistant? With some of those girls, if they really are just wanting to learn, why don't you trade with them? Trade, they can come in, they can shadow you for a few hours a day. They're getting next level education from you. Nothing they're gonna receive in beauty school in order to then help you and make your timing go by that much faster. If you don't have somebody that is available to that, because I also understand it's hard to go through a lot of assistants, right? You don't want a different one every day because that can be stressful too. But if you don't have a young girl or a newer stylist that can do that, I actually think offering time in your chair. If you're a salon suite owner, and I know it's different for everybody, and you share, let's say you rent it for 7 days, and you're there, you work 4. Why don't you trade their days working for you and they can have your station to rent out and take their own clients? Just another kind of idea. Again, Salon Republic, they're the ones who have legal things behind all of that. But I know that that is so valuable to a newer girl that can't afford rent, right? She doesn't even have any clientele yet. So I think that if you're there mentoring her and you guys do a trade, I mean, that's huge right there. And any questions on assistants? I'm trying to think if there's anything else. I mean, my assistants do half the head with me, essentially. I mean, I foil everything, but they're doing my mixing for me, all the running back and forth. They're prepping whatever happens next for me. They're always one step ahead, handing me my clips. If I drop something on the ground, it's just that additional set of hands that's so huge, and the timing is next level. I mean, I can get my full hair changes, cuts, colors, styles, everything in and out in 3 hours with an assistant helping me. Okay, so hopefully that is good and that helps you guys there. We're gonna have to do another little giveaway soon, so please, if you have any questions on any of that, or even leave a comment as little as saying you work with assistant or you don't work with assistant. I'm curious how that is. I'm also curious too, hopefully you guys are adding in there, I'm curious if you guys work with Draco products right now, and that will kind of help me with my educating on the toning segment as well. Okay, this is kind of my last little business chat. Hopefully you guys are not bored with this. Standing out, right? There's such a oversaturation of beauty, right? It is everywhere, and I will be the first to tell you I get really overwhelmed by it too. It's like you're constantly reinventing yourself, constantly looking for the next trend, and especially being LA based, our celebrity clientele has that pressure, and then I have that pressure as well. We're constantly being asked to do write-ups for what's this trend gonna be, and it's things that you have to write about before they're even happening, right? And kind of being that way of standing out. So even though I do work in a salon and I'm with incredibly talented people next to me every day, it's not about one-upping anybody for any reason ever, because I don't want you guys to think it's about, I need to be better than that salon suite next to me or anything like that. But it's about taking like your creativity and your unique you and really making that stand out. Because let me tell you, the most talented person next to me, regardless, we're gonna do hair differently. We're just different people, right? It's art, which is so cool about it. My number one thing with standing out, number one, be kind. Be a kind human, right? We have this industry which can be known for being catty, for gossiping, for taking each other's clients, for just doing some yucky stuff. And I will be the first to tell you that when that energy and that is around me, it's the first thing I will walk away from. That goes for a client as well. If I have a client that's in my chair that is just, it is not an option for me. Life is too short, right? And my time is too valuable. I'm spending it away from my family, my children, everything. So if I can encourage you guys enough to be kind and be joyful, and that's going to radiate throughout your Salon Republic environment, I promise you that. You guys have a very cool and unique situation where being in individual suites, you have kind of this like safe environment you can offer people. And I say safe in the sense of, number one, it's safe where there's not a lot of exposure, right? Times have changed, things are different. So you have that. In addition to that, you have people that if they're not confident in who they are, or if you find a client that's a little bit more timid, you have this like safe environment that they know that they can come to. And we at our salon, we keep a VIP room, and that VIP does not mean it's a celebrity all the time. That means it's catered to our clients, that they just need something quieter. They're not comfortable being on a main floor with a bunch of people. Or maybe it's a client that I do that suffers from hair loss, okay? And she's really embarrassed to either take her hair piece off or her wig. I know that I have a private space where she feels safe. And I think that is so cool for you guys working in salon suites that you have that environment to offer people. So I really want you to encourage you to, in your safe space, make it yours. I know that it's overwhelming to try to decorate and do all those things, but I'm pretty sure that at Salon Republic they are very free to let you guys do what you want to do and make it you and make it your own. So if it means you need inspiration from Pinterest or Instagram or any of those places, make that space unique to you, and that is going to help you stand out, right? You're going to draw those people in that you want to spend your entire day with. Okay, also I will say, I want to go back to in creating your space, make a content wall that's consistent. And I would recommend doing probably at least 2 to 3 content walls. So, because you don't want your Instagram page to feel like it's like solid and too commercial, maybe, I guess, for lack of better words. But pick a theme, pick an overall theme. Do I want it to be light? Do I want it to be dark? Do I want it to be, creamy, or any of those things that you can kind of customize as you go? And I would, whether you do like a pop-up situation in your suite, or you actually have a painted wall in there, I would pick at least 2. Use that as your consistent space that you're taking photos and you are creating your branding. Okay, again, that's signature to you, and it's going to be different than everybody else's there, right? Okay, and I think a huge one, you guys, is make friends. Make friends in your suite environment. I can't encourage you enough to, if so-and-so knows, oh yeah, Serena, she works down the hall and she's amazing at redheads, you should go and see her. Or vice versa, right? Build that community and really be there in support of one another. There's so many people that need their hair done, right? I mean, we can't get to them all, so don't feel like you have to get to them all, and don't be afraid that if one leaves and goes to somebody else, that there's not going to be one that then comes in exchange for that, and it's going to cultivate more the people you want to be around all the time. I sometimes have a hard time posting and using the word client, because so many of my clients have just become my friends. And I say friends in the sense of like, no, we're not hanging out on the weekends together. But when they come in my chair, we're just catching up and we're chatting and talking, and I can't even tell you how much that makes me enjoy my work more. Yes, we're artistic, but I do feel like the emotion of a client in our chair can sometimes be, can be really heavy. And so I can't encourage you enough that as you're doing hair over the years to really bring in people that you want to be with all the time. And next to making friends, you're going to learn from one another. We partner up all the time. I have one of my best friends at the salon, Lindsay. If a client can't get to me, I know they can get to her, or vice versa. I literally just did one of her clients yesterday, and it's like we know that client's always taken care of. And so if for some reason you and Susie are neighbors and you're booked, make sure that client stays within Salon Republic. She's just next door, right? Keep that branding, keep that together as a family unit, and service your clients to your fullest. Don't only just offer them your appointment 3 months down the road or whatever and risk losing them that way. Okay, I think that's my business talk. Is there any questions? And then, Is our girl ready to be shampooed at all yet?
Soon.
She's not quite ready soon. Okay, so yes, any questions? And let's do another giveaway.
Perfect.
Winner as well.
Okay. I have a question. Do you online book? What's your take on it if you do?
Yeah, so I don't have like an online booking system as far as like they go on a website and book, but I require everyone to email me, especially if they're a new client. So I do, first they reach out, right, and that kind of comes from everywhere, referrals, any of the above, and I ask them to send me a picture of their current hair in natural lighting, And then I also asked them to send me a picture of kind of like what their inspiration is. What are they hoping for? And I'm very real with them. I don't even want to deal with the conversations in my chair that are, oh, I just, my hair's a level 4, but I want it to be a level 10 ash. They're showing me a Pinterest picture of a filter. That conversation can all happen in email. It does not need to be time consuming for you in your chair. So this is another way that you can upgrade your menu. Actually, going back to that, your email consultation. I don't charge them obviously for anything like that, but if you're gonna come sit in my chair and you wanna chit chat for 30 minutes about your hair, I'm gonna charge you for it. So you can start transitioning that time of them sitting in your chair, and it can be via email. Now, of course, I still will, when they come get their appointment, I will still obviously reconfirm what we talked about and then hit the ground running so that it is a 5-minute consultation instead of a 30-minute consultation. We're not scrolling through Pinterest, well, maybe I want this, maybe I want that. That's been a really helpful tool for me over the last, I don't even know how many years I've been doing that now. And the busier my seasons get, I will start giving my assistant access to that email, and she can start filtering a little bit for me. I also discuss pricing right then and there. I'm very honest about if they show me they want this picture, then I tell them it will be this much money, because I also have seen their hair, because I need to use this technique. I don't go into product because I feel like anytime you give an inch, they'll take a mile, right? If I say to them, well, you're really gonna need 2 toners, and you one at the top and one at the bottom, so then this costs this and that costs that. The next thing I know, we're in a negotiation process of, well, why don't you just do an all over toner? It'll be fine, it'll still turn out pretty. And it's like, that's not their decision, right? Because that's our creative mark that's walking around. And if it was their decision, then I think that we would probably make no money, right? Everyone wants everything for free, okay? They only want this and this trimmed. They don't want a full haircut, right? So I think that it's really helpful to use email and to just break it down and be honest. People appreciate the honesty, so don't be afraid to be honest. Any other questions? And then we gotta get her shampooed, maybe even just so I can show technique, but she might not be as light as I want her to be, but I'll have Zakia get her. Let me do this. I'm gonna check your guys' chat box here. We gotta pick winner number 2. Okay, give me a second. Or Elgin, if you're on here, do you see anybody that is new to Joico? That's who I wanna give. If anybody has, oh yeah, you guys love working with an assistant. I love that. Yeah, right now with the pandemic, it's not, is it okay to have an assistant? It is okay. So all guidelines are gonna be a little bit different wherever you are, but it is, where everything right now is masked. So that's sort of, I didn't work with an assistant when we first went back to work because of our specific rules. But you just need to check your guidelines of your state, wherever you live, all of that. Okay, Kelly Vandermark. You are new to Joico products. I would love for you to try Joico. So please, in the chat box, will you leave me your full name and your Salon Republic location, and Joico is going to get all this sent out to you, okay? It's an incredible thing. Let's see, are there any other questions on here? Photos? Is there anything that I'm missing from you, Elgin, too? If you see anything, Elgin's my homie on the other side of this, helping me out. Oh, when do you start booking holiday appointments? Woo, girl. I mean, holidays, it's like a blessing and a curse, right? I would say I decide what my travel plans are gonna be. I have 2 kids, so we are operating off of a school schedule. I instantly blocked myself out for their entire 2 weeks because that's family time. It's important to me. Those of you guys that don't have kids, I still encourage you, block out your family time, block out your me time. Then everything before and after, those dates that you have blocked out, there's no question. There's no options there. And you then need to kind of either add a day at the salon if you need to make up for that time, or if you just have too much of a demand on the clientele. Then I would add a day, right? So that you can have even a longer vacation, or feel like you have a better Christmas, or whatever that is for you. So for me, with my clientele, I only work 2 days a week in the salon, and then I am agency the rest of the week. So agency for me, that means in LA, we just have a different side of the industry, right? Where we're working with our photo shoots, we're doing red carpets, we're doing all of that, right? So that's why I have chosen to keep that my schedule. So for me, I will book at least 2 months in advance for my Christmas holiday, take off time. Let's see. Do you have a separate phone number for work? Have you guys heard of the Burner app? It's kind of cool. The Burner app will give you a burner number. So I'll do that. I don't love to have phone conversations. Again, that's your time, right? It's just kind of like sucking up that time where you're not getting paid for that, right? So I don't recommend giving your cell phone number to clients unless it's like a quick text here, quick text there. If I have a client that starts asking too much in a text, I just say, hey, I'm gonna be totally honest with you. My text messages come and go so quick. Can you please shoot me an email? And then it's like you have a little bit more of like a track record of it. And I switched phones and no joke, lost all my contacts and all my text messages. So it's a real thing that you don't want them texting or calling you. What else? Oh, you guys are congratulating Kelly. That's sweet. I love nice people, right? Cute. Yeah, okay, you guys. So hopefully that is helpful with the business chatting, with an assistant, all of it. And I feel like Zakia is almost ready. Yeah, okay, I think I covered most of your guys' questions. Zakia is almost ready with the doll head for toning. I am just going to grab my formulas for you guys. So hold tight. I'm going to grab those really quick so we can discuss toning. All right, here are my formulas for today. And I told you guys before on a brunette, a lot of times I will use, here's a towel. A lot of times I will use the cream, the demi cream for a brunette base. I like the control of the cream, and it does give me more of like a little denser of a coverage. And when you get those brunettes where then you're just like, that melt is still orange and you're just like, ugh. I encourage you to try the cream. Then it's gonna give you that extra little punch. And then don't forget, when you are doing a tone, right, the tap through the top, that hair is sitting right where all the light is hitting our clients, okay? So whether they're outside and they're taking a selfie, they're like, oh my gosh, my hair is red. They're not looking here, right? They're looking right here where it's all this natural blazing sunlight, or their bathroom lighting. They're looking in their bathroom lighting and they're like, oh my gosh, it's orange. You hear that all the time. So I really encourage you to formulate for that. Formulate that even if it means that your client doesn't want to be ashy, but you might need to formulate a drop of something like a Success B into your formula, so that way it gives it a coolness, okay? It gives it like a matteness through that crown area, so that light reflection, because in the salon everything's so different and it's beautiful. So it's a little tricky when you go outside and then you get your clients, saying stuff to you. So that is definitely a big tip for that. Zakia is gonna start mixing that tap for me. And so let me just share with you the formulation. We have 6SB and 7N in the liquid, and I'm only using this not in a cream because I'm working on a doll head. I'm gonna do equal parts with her because her natural color too on this doll head, I'm sure you guys saw it when I was weaving her. She looks red. She looks like real red. So I want to kind of smoke all that out a little bit for her. So I'm going to use the 2 of these. Her natural level, oh here, let me give you that. Her natural level, I would say, is a 6 on the warm side. So I'm choosing 1 tone at her level, that's the 6, and then the 7N, just to give me a little half kick up. So that way I then don't go back and I just completely cover these highlights that I just gave her, right? Now, there's so many different ways that you can do a root shadow, okay? You can do a tap, which I like to call just like tap, boom, 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 boom. We're just kind of covering that highlight line. Or you can do an actual like shadow, right? Where now those highlights are in there, so we're gonna have reflection and we're gonna have dimension, but we're really gonna drop her down because she doesn't actually wanna feel super highlighty, okay? So there's a couple different options there. With this one, I don't wanna pull too much of the color away for you guys just on camera. I want you to be able to see what I'm doing. So I'm gonna kind of get her sectioned out here. Who else worked on mannequin heads during quarantine? Because holy moly, I had like 15 of these ladies in my garage and my kids were like, what is wrong with you? Okay, I'm doing a part straight down the middle, working off of her center part. Gonna kind of push that and you guys can see, well hopefully you can see, boom, this like awesome rad dimension that happened through there. And then it got a little more concentrated through the top. Hope you guys can see. And then look at her, she still has some really fun ends. This isn't even toned and I'm already like so excited about it. You guys see the difference there? I'm still kind of into having some depth at the ends. So there's always an option or like on a blonde to tip out all of that in the foiling process, but I'm kind of into it right now to have not as much happening, you know? Okay, I sectioned in front of the ear here and away. All right, and we're kind of working quadrants. I'm going to have my assistant do the other side with me because I want to kind of show you guys how I work with an assistant as well. At the salon, this would be very normal for us. We would sit our client up at the bowl. I'm gonna go mix that all over just really quick. And I would be on one side, she would be on the other. The parting and everything, the sectioning would all remain with you guys too. All right, so whether or not you did
Okay, wait,
this.
it's reconnecting.
Oh,
Okay, wait.
are we still there?
We're good.
Hi, are we back? Temporary interruption. So whether or not you did this hairline under here, whether she pulls it up, don't tap that yet. This part, leave it alone and really go into your next section of where you see some highlights. And I'm actually going to do the old one. Remember how she kind of had this old highlight? I just want to give her a little through that bottom. A little extra love. And I'm really just going to paint that specific to those ones and up. I always wear gloves, you guys. I'm just in my kitchen and alive, so things are a little scatterbrained, but I always wear gloves. All the chemicals and all that on my hands over the years, I didn't used to because I was stubborn, and now I encourage you guys to do that. Okay, next section here, you can see this is now where I've created those highlights. Let me see if we can tilt her. Whoa. There we go. Forward a little bit is how my normal client would be sitting, okay? So, because I don't like to clip when I do this, because again, I want to work quickly. So, Zakia, again, over here is going to be shadowing me. Zakia, I left that one out. Hairline is out. And the next one, you're hitting that old, one more, you're hitting that old highlights. Okay, just kind of down through the ends. Kind of pick that up and just slightly hit that old one, just to give it an extra little love. All right, now we're dropping down in the highlight section. What's so important about this, I encourage you to do your best to try to take as much of a horizontal section as possible there. But when you worked so hard to get this into a V shape in your foiling, don't now just go and splat this straight down and square her off. Okay, do your best to keep this at a V too. So if I'm gonna drop this all the way down kind of to the round, the nape of her neck, now I'm gonna work a little bit less towards the sides, okay? So that I create this, right? This new V line kind of happening here. Because if I just go in and splat this down, then I'm taking away all that work and all that effort that I did when I was foiling her. Okay, again, drop this all down. We'll do the same thing. I'm working still on the round of her head, so I'm gonna drop that all the way, and I'm going less towards the outside, kind of like, it's even more aggressive in my mind than a teardrop. I'm literally doing like a diamond, I would say, through the back. Okay, drop that next one. Keep really clean sections as you work. And same thing here. This is gonna be my last one where I'm really dragging that down. And I'm kind of going, again, just off of the round of her head. And a little less here. Don't forget that when she pulls up is her lighter and brighter. Hold this with one hand as you work, section, pull away. Then you don't have to worry about clipping that. This should be quick. Okay? Now, right here, this is like right at that crown that I was telling you guys about. I want you to just go to where the round is and then stop. Because now I want, if I create a little bit of like a matteness right in here with my formula, that is going to help take away that quote unquote red that every client sees. Oh, my hair is brassy. Don't you just love that our clients learned the word brassy? And now everybody's brassy. It's like, what? Okay, so help yourself out in your formulation. Combing this back, but being mindful that as I comb this back, I don't want any of this laying, like if you're really shadowing, I would pull this off to the side a little bit. You don't want any of your tipped ends going into there. And again, I'm right at that top of that head, so I'm giving it a little bit less and just to the round. That's gonna sit over my direction. So I don't need to drag her all the way down. And now my V shape is kind of right in here. Okay, this is the last section right in front of that ear. You pull this back and away. Sometimes I'll do this for some good control too. Keeping another V section. So by the time I get to kind of, so here I'm gonna turn her really quick. By the time I'm getting here to this section, this is like almost becomes a little tap, right? Where I'm hitting that. And then you can see the V starting to get a little dragged out moving this way. So as this falls, if this piece is has less shadow than that one, that's okay, right? So we're kind of working through. All right, you can see my assistant and I cruising up this head together. Set my client up a little bit more so you can see. Same thing, we're gonna start taking this back. Maybe Zakia, I'm gonna do this so they can see. Hopefully you guys can see. Please say if you cannot, because that defeats the purpose, right? Okay, really keeping this clean behind her ear, or I should say actually kind of like right at her ear. Again, giving that depth, and then I'm gonna get skinnier as I work here. With the way that I taught you kind of the foil pattern, this is closer in here. If you remember that V shape that we created in the foil. Okay, so it'll be there, you'll be able to see it. When I get now to the round where everything's falling forward, I'm going to start taking my V shapes a little bit differently. Because I know that this hair now, you have to visually picture this coming this way, okay? So granted, I don't want to be pulling all this color into her face. So I'm going to take a diagonal-ish, actually you're more kind of working on a triangle, I guess, this direction. And then I'm taking it back. Okay, can you see that sectioning in there? And I'm just going to sort of graze over those ones, right where my highline is. Anything I see that's orange, boop, you're gonna be gone. Okay, kind of coming this way again, so that visually this hair comes here. Okay, great, I can take this back. My all over tone that I'm gonna use on her is 10V and 10NW. I'm choosing that because I'm using some to control the warmth that she kind of already has in her hair. And then I really just want to neutralize. I'm not trying to make her a blasted ashy blonde. She's too red naturally to have that complement who she is and what her skin tone is. Okay, so we're right in here. We have a little bit of a money piece starting. So I'm going to be mindful that I'm not covering too much of that. Okay, just really ease and brush that in. Same there. And lay that back. All right, when I get to the pieces that are all the way forward here, this is where I'll start what's called a back tap. Oh, I know what I wanted to show you guys really quick though too before, sorry Zakia. Really quick, let me show you this hairline before it's toned, because I want you guys to see how much softer that is coming off of, right off of her face as a brunette. That's not even tapped. Okay, so you see how that when we went in and we did a little back combing through there, how much softer that gave me, but she still has a good pop. And now, and this is, I'll be excited to blow this out and show you guys, this piece when it's falling forward and you're giving her this cool little style out here, all these bright pieces are gonna pop and she's still gonna have her quote unquote money piece happening. Okay? As the stylist, make sure you always go and check your assistant's side, okay? Like if we're off a little bit right here, I want it perfect. So I'm just gonna go in and I'm gonna check that before I do anything in the front, because we want this look to stay as balanced as possible. Okay, so go in, check her side, make sure her saturation is good, make sure there's no pieces laying over any of this other depth. Okay, you really have to be mindful that you're checking that as you go back through so you don't end up with like even, you know, if this was pushed down in, that's gonna start giving me some bleed marks, for lack of better words, kind of through there. Okay, I'm gonna go on to the front. You guys, I only have about 5 more minutes left, so please get your last questions in, and I need to pick one more giveaway, right? Have we picked 2 people?
We have picked 2 people.
I need to pick one more giveaway person. So Zakia and I will finish this girl up, but if you can, Zakia, if you'll start looking for me,
Yeah.
let me know who is hung in there. Maybe that. Do we have anybody who stayed on the whole time?
We had quite people actually.
If you are, you guys are gangster. Thank you for staying with me. 2 hours is a lot of talking. So Zakia's gonna check that out. I'll announce that. So back tap, okay? This is the money piece. This is all the stuff that kind of in that first sectioning was that hairline. I'm only back tapping her. That means I'm going on the back side of her hair, and then I'm gonna kind of section out here. Be really like kind of loosey-goosey with your movement. At this point, your client can bring her chin up a little bit so that hair doesn't fall. And I'm gonna back tap only. This is just ensuring that I'm not taking away all that lightness and brightness that I gave her. And then also don't forget, when we're highlighting, I'm highlighting the same direction. So when I'm pushing in, I have more saturation, right, happening here. So that's really what I need to back tap. The rest from my feathering should be pretty soft. On my blondes, I mean, sometimes I don't even back tap this part, but I'll back tap the 2 behind it. I never front tap unless I saw something where I made a mistake. Okay, slowly kind of take that, just double check. Yep, I'm happy with that. Let's say you were like, ooh, I didn't do so good with my feathering. Just give it a little boop. Give her some love. All right, last thing here. This one's really important that this one is soft in here. I feel like for whatever reason, people really like see this section. Probably because when they pull it up, right? okay? Or they're blow drying or like giving extra attention to it. All right. Putting this guy back and a little back tap in there as well. And that's all she needs. Now, okay, I have 4 minutes. So on my overall toner, I'll go right back through. My assistant and I will share the same bottle of color. I'll start in the back always. And remember, we haven't hit this hairline one yet. So now is the time to do that. Okay, we'll go back to this section. I'll take my tap. I'll give her a little boop, boop. If I would have done that section, so that still stays light and bright. I'm gonna take kind of large sections, nothing crazy. And you will be wearing gloves, right guys? I am not, just working quickly on this live for you guys. I'm gonna take this all the way up. This is my all over toner, 10V, 10NW, and it's going all the way through the ends in this section. It's gonna go all the way through the ends on my first, I'd say half of the head. Okay, not half, sorry. That's like a third of the head.
Somebody asked, how long do you leave the toner on?
The toner is really dependent on the overall results, okay? So I do not walk away from a toner. Always watch your toners at the bowl. And I'm constantly, sometimes my assistants are like, what are you doing? But I'm constantly smudging the hair and moving it around so I can see, are there any strands that sucked up the toner too much? Are there any strands that need extra love? So I would say, oh, you guys, I have so many formulations on my Instagram. If you want to go to Jill901, and I have a ton of, I call them my secret menu. I have a ton of toner formulations with the exact timing that I use based on that hair swatch. So if that's helpful at all. I would say for me, these toners, they're on average 10 minutes, I would say, that they stay there. Okay, Zakia, tell me the winner really quick. We got 2 minutes.
All right.
I gotta hurry.
Got this. All right, the next winner is, drum roll,
Drum roll.
Mila Tash.
Mila Tash, you are our next giveaway winner. So please put your full name and your Salon Republic location so you can try out this Draco stuff too. Thanks for hanging in there. This is a long live. You guys probably have the day off too. That's unfortunate, right? No, just kidding. All right, really quick before I have to jump off. Zones, I guess if we were to call this zone 1, this is going to be zone 2 in front of the ear and or behind the ear, and in front of the ear would be zone 3. I will only pull my toner through to kind of the mid shaft. I'm going to leave the ends out so that they only process the last 5 minutes of my toner. Okay, that's the only other really quick step I do with toning. I really want that depth to happen through the mids in here, and that needs more tone, like overall control, more than my ends do. Some of these sometimes are raw and beautiful and don't even don't even need it. You could throw a little like color balance shampoo with a purple. You could use some violet on the ends, and that could be it for you. Okay, you guys, I think we did it. Hopefully everyone is good. Everyone, ask any other questions that you have. Send me a DM if you have anything that I didn't cover in this 2 hours. We're going to jump off, get her finished up, and then I will post some before and after pictures. Draco will share some pictures, and then you guys are free to enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you so much. We'll see you later.